Hello, and welcome to your Reiki session. I hope you're doing as well as possible. For this session, I want to focus on balancing the root chakra. More specifically, I want to focus on activating this space. Most of my videos that are about the root chakra are about kind of cooling and soothing the space. Most of my sessions are about how to emotionally regulate when we are in a heightened state of anger or irritability. And rather than focus on that, I kind of wanted to focus on the other side of the spectrum. Whether you are somebody who feels kind of chronically disconnected from your anger, or you are somebody who is just right now feeling like you have a block when it comes to sitting with that anger, or you're maybe feeling an extra bout of shame around anger or something like that. Either one, I want this session to be available to you to help you move through this block so that you can effectively and from an empowered place connect with your anger, find the benefits of anger, and then effectively and gently, I suppose, or with compassion for yourself and others, express your feelings, express your anger. So, I really just want you to receive this in whatever way or space you are open to receiving it. If you are somebody who is very connected to your anger, very has that as a very available resource, then I would say you don't necessarily have to skip this, but rather take this as an opportunity to activate your root chakra, your base chakra, in terms of grounding, a deeper sense of grounding. Help maybe to connect this session with your passion. So if you want to replace the word anger with passion, that might still be a suitable session for you here. I'm going to start by using a little bit of oil on my hands, and I'm going to place some essential oils in my hands. So that we can start by doing a little bit of breath work together here. And just encourage this beautiful energy to start to flow here. We're going to be primarily focusing on your lower body as we do this, but I do want to focus a little bit on the throat chakra just so we can connect the root with the throat so that we can really help to express our anger in a way that is aligned and from our wisest selves, or at least move more in that direction. Okay. So I'm going to grab a few essential oils and then we'll begin doing this breath work, okay? So I'm going to be using a few different essential oils here, and these are two of my favorite scents. This is a tea tree and this is cedarwood. And I'm going to be placing these in my palms, rubbing my hands together, and really creating a nice little blend so that we can send this energy really balanced into your aura. This is a really thick cedar wood. It's a very thick essential oil. And I'm gonna use 2 drops, I guess. I was just gonna use 1 or 3. This is a Himalayan cedar. And then tea tree. 2 of my favorites. And this brand, Lessons, I really love their essential oils, particularly the tea tree. I love the tea tree for me. Okay. So what I would encourage you to do here is to begin just slowing down your breathing. So just try to slow your inhale. When we talk about taking deep breaths, sometimes there can be a mental block about that when we start to go. It can start to invite more tension into our physical bodies. So rather than that kind of practice, I would encourage you to just simply slow your breathing and see if that helps you connect with a deeper breath. You can smell the scent from there. It's really powerful and I like it in wafts. So just allow that to float towards you. I'm going to place my hands on your hips, your low hips. And I would just encourage you here to breathe into the bowl at the base of your torso, whatever that means to you. So again, slow breaths. And just try to encourage that breath to sink down to the bowl at the base of your torso. This is for your energy, and you don't have to focus so much on your breath actually filling the space. Just try to see what happens when you send that intention. Hair that really wants to hang out today. Okay. All right. Deep breaths. Slow, deep, kind breaths. Gorgeous. So for this session, one thing I would really encourage you to do is start to bring some awareness to moments of irritability and see what exists around them. Connect if you can with any resentments that you might have. Are there any people in your life, situations that you are resentful of? Sometimes if we can't connect directly with anger, that emotion goes somewhere else and is displaced, and it starts to present itself as something else. Are you someone who every time that you start to feel angry, or every time that one of your boundaries is crossed, you cry? Not that we can't have angry tears, but is that something that you connect with? When you start to feel really afraid, does that sort of become displaced and start to go to something like annoyance maybe, or shame or doubt? Just start to pay attention to different emotions, what emotions you feel most strongly, and start to parse through those a little bit when you're feeling pretty aligned, and start to ask yourself whether any of these emotions are anger disguised as another emotion. So start to ask yourself, is sadness disguised anger? Is my resentment around something the way that I feel more comfortable coping with a boundary being crossed, as opposed to connecting with anger, my anger over that boundary being crossed? So we really just want to be aware of what we're experiencing, because anger, like any other emotion, it's not bad. Emotions aren't bad or good. They just are. They just exist. It's what we do with that emotion. That's the important bit. What do you do? How do you move through anger? How do you move through that grief or sadness or anguish? How do you move through these emotions? How do you move through your judgment of yourself or others? That's what really matters. So this is just about, rather than trying to avoid or escape an emotion that we find uncomfortable, because so many of us are taught that anger is not okay, that it's not an acceptable emotion, and we should not engage with anger. End of story. And I think anytime we have something like that, there are going to be so many coping mechanisms that we build up around ourselves to avoid that sometimes they just get in the way and prevent us from actually connecting with what we're actually experiencing. Anger, specifically when it tips over into rage, it's very damaging. If we're acting on rage, that can be incredibly damaging. It can lead to all kinds of horrible things. However, if we have a solid, grounded connection between our anger, our sense of self-worth in the solar plexus, and our throat chakra, our ability to express that, then we have full alignment, and we can really start to move toward an integrated life, an integrated experience of all of our emotions, everything that's here. Anger also has the ability to connect us with our passions, with our purpose, with what we deserve, with what we feel that we want. Anger can really fire us into acting on something. Sometimes our anger at a situation, or if we have that resentment, that slow buzzing resentment build up enough, that can really bolster us into action in a situation that we might not have necessarily done anything about prior to. But if we can start to connect with that and say, yeah, actually, this is happening because some of my boundaries are being crossed. Boundaries I didn't really strongly set, but my internal boundaries are being crossed. And I need to start to use my voice to express those boundaries. Have the confidence in the solar plexus to believe I'm worthy of setting boundaries, and really connect with that emotion that's helping keep me safe in my base chakra here. That anger is there to keep you safe. Very often, anger is there to keep you safe, to prevent you from having your boundaries crossed, to prevent you from being hurt or taken advantage of, or things like this. So it's a powerful emotion, and if we can use it to our advantage and use it in the right way and channel it appropriately, it can be a wonderful tool that we have. We can learn so much from our anger about the way we feel about things, the way we feel about people, the way we feel about our lives, our experience, different situations. So I think we should try to cleanse this idea that anger is a negative emotion that we're not allowed to feel, because we're going to feel it anyway. It just might come up in different ways unless we fully embrace it and sit with it and are able to acknowledge its presence in our lives, I believe. So on behalf of your wisest, highest, most empowered and aligned self, in loving comfort and perfect balance, I wish to conduct this Reiki session to help you more deeply and from a more aligned place connect with your anger, to see what it has to teach you, and to express your anger in an integrated and healthy way. Now, if you would like to clarify this intention, specify it, or even set your own intention based on what you're moving through, feel free to use this flame to do so, as long as that intention is in service of your and everyone else's highest, wisest, most empowered and aligned selves. And if that's the case, we will see it through time and space to where and whenever you're receiving this, and where and whenever it's applicable. Lovely. I'm going to use this owl rattle here to shake up the energy here. To shake up the energy in your aura and help to send this gorgeous thickening effect. Our aura is very protective. Sometimes when we are disconnected from anger, there's a fear that we won't feel safe if we connect with our anger. Sometimes we don't feel safe or protected or secure enough to engage with our anger or look at our anger. So this is just here to help you feel more protected, more grounded, so that you can, from a very aligned place, start to look at your anger. Okay. Just allow your body to melt into the Reiki table. This is your time. I just want you to relax and give over to this moment. This is just here for you, okay? So just relax. So for that, we primarily focused on your base, your throat, and your solar plexus, and then just cleansing the bottoms of your feet. I'm going to spray a little bit of this aura mist. This is cedarwood, tea tree, and eucalyptus. I really want you to feel empowered in this session. Start to engage in some self-awareness when it comes to when you're feeling a little unstable, when you're feeling like someone's done or said something that offended you or hurt you. Start to connect with how you're feeling when someone is annoying you, when it feels like there's a boundary that's been crossed. Very often, if we have a difficult time with connecting with our anger, we also have a difficult time setting boundaries or even acknowledging that we are worthy of boundaries, that we are worthy of having our needs met. And I mention this a lot, but it is very empowering to recognize that there's a lot of research into how the connection between the people who are have the most capacity for compassion and empathy and those who have the strongest boundaries. There's a link between these. Brené Brown talks about this connection a lot, that the most wholehearted people are those with the strongest boundaries, that she found in her research. So it's just some food for thought. It's important to just recognize that once we have a connection to our own sense of value and worth, we are worthy of setting boundaries and making our needs known, then we have more space for kindness, compassion, empathy, generosity, generosity of spirit, as we talked about a few months back. So just start to recognize that this isn't about connecting with our anger, isn't about being unkind. It's not about being violent or so much like fuzz and there's a little fly in here. Sorry for all the distractions. But it's rather about connecting with our authentic selves, connecting with what's actually going on. We really tend to ignore what's actually going on in favor of doing the thing that's right, that society or our families of origin or whoever tell us is right to do. Books we read, TV shows we grew up with, what's right to do, instead of really connecting with what we're actually experiencing. And there's just so many things that our energies and our bodies and are trying to tell us all the time about our responses to what's going on. So if we can start to tune into that frequency, listen to it, connect with it, beautiful things can start to happen. Beautiful things. More deeply engage with our healing. Be more clear with our communication, more direct. Start to spend time with people that we enjoy being around, as opposed to people that we feel we should spend time with. It can be a beautiful thing. So I really encourage you to start peeking in. Start peeking in and seeing what's here. See if there are ways in which you could more deeply connect with your own experience. I am now going to draw the symbols outside of your heart center. I'm going to use this clear quartz cluster here to do that. Great stone, very activating stone. Candle's talking to you. Lighting a candle to say, where am I ignoring my own experience here? Can help you connect with your anger, that fiery quality. Water can also help you connect with your anger. Can help you feel more balanced and fluid in your emotions. So it can help you really draw out any emotions that are feeling blocked or hidden or maybe cast aside into a little box that we never open. We never want to, express ourselves when we're angry, especially if we are, have a tendency towards violence or rage or anything like that. We want to be really boundaried even with ourselves around anger. But this session isn't so much for people who are struggling with rage or being excessively angry or being really hot-headed or having a really hot temper. This is more for people who are really disconnected from that base fundamental emotion, or at least from expressing it. Excuse me, my neck. I'm going to start to place a few stones. Some of the stones I would recommend for connecting with your anger are red jasper. It's a very grounding stone. I would also suggest aragonite. This is a great stone for really channeling our anger, parsing through our anger and having agency over where we're deciding to place that anger. I love using this stone for that practice. I think it's a very empowering stone, and I think it's a wonderful one for just helping us to kind of more effectively perceive and then prioritize our anger. Channel it in the appropriate direction. And then this is a leopard jasper. Any jaspers I feel like are great for balancing the root, most jaspers. And I think it's great for really connecting with that kind of animal instinct. It's a great stone for connecting with your spirit guides, but also just kind of reconnecting with that base, fundamental, I want to say animalistic emotion. It's just a very baseline emotion. Anger is one that, once we connect with that, it can sort of spread out and we can really start to look more closely at all of the different threads that make up this emotion. But I think really connecting with that just sort of baseline of anger can be supported by something like a leopard jasper. And then this is a red calcite. Red calcites can look like this. I have another one that is much more pink, but this is still a red calcite. And these are really great, I think, for connecting with anger, but doing it in a more gentle way. But these are all very grounding stones, and I think these could be really helpful for that. So I'm actually just going to be placing a few of these right on your very low belly, almost, where your hip hinges. All the respect in the world here for your comfort and your boundaries. And I'm going to place these just outside of your hips. Okay. Great. I'm going to place this Kambaba jasper. Here's a jasper that is great for the heart, just for the root. But I love using Kambaba for times of transformation, really supporting us when we are in times of transformation. So I'm going to place this right on the heart space here. And then in your hands, I'd like to place a smoky quartz. This is great for balancing above and below since we have a lot of stones and a lot of energy going on. In these lower chakras, we're just balancing that with a more spiritual, more divine connection here. So I'm going to be placing this, if you're okay with it, in your left hand here. And then placing the Septarian, great for setting boundaries, a very grounded energy, a very empowering stone here in your right hand. Gorgeous. So together now, let's start to engage in that slow breathing again. Just imagine it coming in and then swirling around your base, swirling around here in your root chakra. Placing my hands on your hips here, your lower hips. So I really want you to slow your breathing and start to feel into this space. Again, this bowl at the base of your torso. We're just activating this space as much as we can. This can help to ground you. Anything that you can do, kind of squeezing your legs a little bit, very gently, but squeezing your legs a little bit. Placing your hands on your hips in almost a power pose, grounding ourselves, connecting with our own sense of security and stability. These things can help to open up this channel so we can more effectively connect with our root chakra and with that anger. You're worthy of setting boundaries. You're worthy of having your needs met. You're worthy of expressing your wants. And with that expression in mind, I'm going to be using this blue kyanite, and I'm just very gently going to be placing it on your throat chakra here. Gorgeous. So we're just having that to sort of balance this out and invite in this beautiful flow here from throat to root to solar plexus. All through. Hovering my hands now outside of your base. It's really important that we start to connect with what's here instead of trying to force what's not. So many of us think that self-improvement is about erasing things that are here and replacing those things with things that we want. I would encourage moving closer to the practice of bringing awareness to what already exists here and really practicing accepting that and moving towards a place of love. You can't go from 0 to 100, and it's very difficult to go from total disconnection with our anger to loving our anger. But slowly, one step at a time, if we start to acknowledge when we're feeling angry, accept that we're feeling angry, start to practice how to express our anger. When you did this, it made me feel like this. When you did this, it hurt my feelings. If you do this, I don't want you to come over to my house, whatever it is. When we start to really connect with that and practice it, because we're not perfect, it's not going to go well at first. But start to practice it and invite gentleness into this practice as always. And then slowly move towards saying, you know what, I appreciate my anger because it tells me when I'm really passionate about something. And then I can use that passion to fuel something else that's really productive and helpful. Or, oh, I'm so grateful for my anger. It helped me know that that boundary that was crossed was not okay. When that person did that, it made me recognize that that's something that I should be setting a boundary for. So it's not an emotion we want to live in forever, but that doesn't usually happen. It's something that we want to just be aware of and then return to the present moment. Be aware of our anger, sit with our anger, send love to our anger if we can. And express it, feel it, process it. And then we can release it. That's when we can then release it. You are divine. You are connected. You are expressive. You are loved. You are strong. You are emotionally balanced. You are safe. Safe and secure. Safe to feel all of your feelings. To express your anger. To feel your anger. You're safe to feel your anger. You're stable and protected. You are loved. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always such a pleasure to be able to connect with you. It's such a joy. And I would really suggest reading the comments because they are, if you want a little boost, they are just so kind and open and loving and wonderful. And that's just a little happy place here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here, watching till the end. And until we meet again, be so, so well, my friend. So these are the ritual healing boxes. I just wanted to show you inside. This is actually the self-love box. Each of them come with 2 crystal-embedded tea candles and 3 gemstones. So this one has a rose quartz, a green aventurine, and a unakite. Love that for self-love. They come with the same large incense cones. This one is a gardenia. And with this rose and violet
is how